Hello. We are already here laughing. I am Carolyn Cushing here with,
Mary Greer, and welcome to our tarot community.
because we're going to talk about Wisdom of the Tarot that is happening July 21 to 25. And as quickly as we can, we're going to give you some highlights. I'm just going to run you through what we're going to talk to today so it can help orient you, or you can watch for what the favorite parts you want to know are. So I think you see here, Wisdom of the Tarot at Omega, July 21 to 25. And Mary and I right now are going to talk to you about what we're going to be doing and some of the things of it. And our agenda is organized by tarot card. First, we're going to start with the Magician, the Aces, and just orient you to what is the Tarot Week at Omega. And we will hit all these points. After that, we're going to talk about the gifts that people receive from attending. And we are going to do a live card pull from the Shining Tribe. So we're invoking Rachel Pollack. You'll hear a little bit about her in the history, for the gift that those who come could receive. All right. And then we are getting a little celestial, because in this part of our chat will be the sun and the moon. There's always constants in the tarot week, the things that always happen. And the moon every year is unique because the moon changes and the group of people changes. A little fun activity we're going to try in this call is Mary and I might we'll brainstorm things we might fight about. And then I'm going to end with logistics. I'm showing you this slide, but don't worry, I'll bring you this slide up at the end just so you know all the basics. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to chat a little bit. And, Mary, I'm going to ask you, and you could give a little bit of your history with it, right? What is the Tarot Week at Omega?
Oh, it's a 5-day experience of total immersion in the tarot, beginning with an overview of all the cards and basic spreads, and then going into what I call tarot play. So it will be using this various spreads, creating them, coming up with new ideas for tarot, as well as getting those basics solidly under. And the core is the interpersonal relationships that we establish through readings and practice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we were talking before, and it's very much a communal activity, and that we are the instructors or facilitators. Mary Craig Greer is one of our great wisdom keepers and spreaders, but everyone who comes can, like, people just opening up the deck. We had in these settings say the most wonderful and profound things. So everyone is part of this community and has every sharing great gifts.
And I do want to say that many of the exercises that Rachel Pollack and I have taught over the years came out of these classes at Omega. This is where we create the experiences that we then go on teaching for years afterwards.
Yes, I had that down as the week is a cauldron of creativity and new ideas for Rachel and Mary, and then also people who are there. Some there's deck creators, or people get ideas for decks or books. But also, I think we should introduce a little bit of the history and fill in for anyone. We keep speaking of our beloved Rachel Pollack, but do you want to talk a little bit about how the Tarot Week started, Mary?
I was invited to teach at the Omega Institute after doing some workshops up in the East. I'm from California. So I think the second or third class, Rachel Pollack was moving back from Amsterdam, where she had been living and where she wrote 78 Degrees of Wisdom. She was moving back to upstate New York, and it turned out a few miles from the Omega Institute. So she came as a guest, and then I said, "Would you like to teach with me?" And she went, "Yeah, of course." So that was over 40 years ago. And we taught for all that time together every year, except during COVID. The program, and growing and learning and changing yeah, it's been an amazing experience, especially on this campus and the layout, the setup, because that really brings people together
Mm,
in
mm,
so many exciting ways in a beautiful environment.
mm. I think you, and one thing, just like Rachel Pollack left us physically uh,
Oh,
2 years ago, 2+ years ago. But she is here in spirit at the Tarot Week, and we set up an altar for her, and I am a student in Rachel Pollack's school for heresy and tarot and magic, and so she is definitely a presence, and we want to honor her and bring forward her gifts. And so our next part of the agenda, so just to say, like, what is the Tarot Week? It is a workshop. You can learn tarot from the very beginnings. It is community, a great community. It's a beautiful place to be, and you can take time out and relax at Omega. And it has a long history, 40 years, and it is a cauldron of creativity and new techniques. Of course, out
oh,
of this cauldron will come gifts. So our next little section of our agenda is what gifts do people receive from attending? These are participants. Um, do you, I have a story. I mean, because
go ahead.
I'm wearing the hat of both being a participant and being a teacher facilitator, because I came to the Tarot Week in 1999. And that is, I had met Mary and Rachel through their books. So, but this was the first time I met you in person.
Oh,
And I was serious play with the tarot, but when I came in 1999, the approach that was both so playful and so fun, and such a great community gathering, was then coupled with this like serious wisdom seeking and going in depth with the meanings of the cards and what wisdom is and how we explore together. And it changed my life. And that's how I became very serious about tarot. And
wow.
I know that is true for other people as well. I have a few other thoughts, but do you have thoughts, memories, stories of how Tarot Week has kind of changed or influenced people, Mary?
Oh, not off the top of my head. There have been breakups. There have been people coming together and ending up in couples. There have been people who totally, completely changed their life and their profession, including becoming a minister using tarot, a lawyer who changed totally, completely into the minister. Yeah, there's story after story. We usually incorporate some kind of ritual, and therefore the things that our intention and the ritual tend to manifest over time. So we
Mm.
keep hearing stories about that. And now with Rachel on the other side, and especially through her deck, so many people have found that you really feel like you're talking to Rachel. So even if you've never met her, never experienced her, the work will do some with her deck because she speaks to us and continues to in such amazing, transformative ways.
Okay, actually, this is a great setup for our live card pull. So
Yes.
Mary and I, we don't know what card we're going to pull. I am using the Shining Tribe, the deluxe edition, and we are going to pull a card right
Oh,
now for uh, the collective gift that might come for attendees of the Tarot Week. So this is us as a collective. We're going to do this. I certainly pay attention to what this is, but on your own, those of you watching, you may want to pull your own card for what's a personal gift you would receive if you came to the Tarot Week. But I am shuffling here the Shining Tribe, and we'll interpret. Oh, I should have maybe pre-shuffled to be prepared. But this, and shuffling is a ritual, right? We talk about everything from the huge issues, what is the soul, to how do you shuffle your deck sometimes. And there now I'm shuffling and giving it my energy. The Shining Tribe is one of my favorite decks. I'm a tribe, a tarot polygamist. I'm involved with many decks, but the Shining Tribe has a special place in my heart. So I'm going here for this card. That is, what is the collective gift that may come for those who attend the Tarot Week 2025? Aha. Oh, such an interesting
Two
card.
birds.
So
Yeah.
this card is the Two of Birds. As you can see, we have the birds here. I think this was influenced by looking at a Chinese vase. This deck has symbols from world cultures. And then, of course, the snake is there. And birds is the suit that corresponds to air. And, you know, Rachel was an expert in the Rider-Waite Smith. So there certainly is a connection. But there is also uniqueness in this. Birds, as opposed to swords, which are a weapon, have a connection to creativity. And the poem, Rachel gives a little poem here of, they turn away, they keep secret, the song in the silence, the hum in their feet. They keep secret, the song in the silence, the hum in their feet. So thinking about the collective gift, this makes me think, this poem, about a kind of deeper listening, a listening below language that would come in silence and hum in the feet. When I've worked with this card in this poem, even though this is the card of air, there's that connection to earth or something that grounds you. A snake is close to earth. And, you know, this card also has the idea of like, there's something you think you're done with, but you're not. And it's the snake of transformation that connects you. So there may, you know, a collective gift would be something we thought we were done with or had finished us, or comes for a new kind of transformation. That's a first thought, and I'd love to hear your thought on this, Mary, and maybe you want to connect to the Rider-Waite Smith image.
Right. Yes. And the Two of Swords, where the person is blindfolded and arms crossed holding these two swords. They look rather heavy. Everybody has something different that they want to do with them. But it suggests that the mind doesn't know what to do. Behind the figure is a great water and a moon in the sky. So we think of the tides. And it's how do we feel something in intuition when the mind doesn't have all the answers, when the systems aren't working and we don't know where to go, the split mind. But then we turn to intuition. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot to do with that intuition and feeling the tides, the flow, the energy. And the snake.
It also, you know, our minds don't know what to do. We are in this time of systems breakdown, right? And the ways that we knew to do things, they don't apply. So
Not
this
anymore.
card, which isn't comfortable, is actually a good way to be moving into these new ways of doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Where else do we get our information when all the rational, logical things are not functioning?
To go out to the tides.
Yeah.
Now, there's one other piece, because I learned this technique from Rachel of you cut the deck and you take your card, but there's a card at the bottom. This is the deeper underground, the foundation card. And this is tradition, which is a version of the Hierophant that's quite different from the Hierophant. You know, it's going back to very ancient wisdom, and it's a collective circle of rocks. I don't know how much Zoom is showing you. So that makes me think of the collective of us teaching each other.
Right. Yeah. We tend to not be very much of this. This Hierophant kind of, we keep it hidden underneath all the learning, all the knowledge. We'll start off with some of that, but then we let it go.
And I mean, I think people in the community become Hierophants.
Yes, for yourself.
The rocks sitting together. So
I really
Okay.
love that. Rocks together. Again, we come back to community, which is what at Steps the Hierophant is really about.
Mm, mm, yes. Okay, collective gifts for you. All right, now we are on to, oh, our celestial happenings. Sun, the constants of the tarot week, and the moon, things that are unique to this year. So sun, the constants of the tarot week. Maybe we've talked a little bit about this, but to reassure people, the early sessions are grounding in the basics. Like, we don't assume people know about tarot for the first, what, 2 3 sessions, Mary? Day and a half?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, so basic spreads and going over at least a little bit each of the cards, usually in some kind of creative format that allows you to see their flow, see how they work together, see how they build off of each other. So it's both basics for newbies, but also a unique perspective for people who already know the cards
Right.
to see them through another lens.
Yes. In doing these, I've done now the major I've done all the major, the minors, and the numbers. I've been working out this material on magic. So I've always I've like worked that in. So there's usually a little something new, even if you know a lot of the tarot. I mean, and then people
Yeah.
in the room bring new perspectives.
Exactly,
Yep.
because we are a community, and therefore we really I mean, we really encourage people to be playing a part in everything that we're doing.
Yep. Then the other, it's a Monday through Friday, and we have sessions. Wednesday afternoon is free. This is a constant. There are always gatherings in the coffee shop. This is people in the tarot world. We go to the coffee shop and we take out our cards, and people who are there from other workshops, they're curious. They come talk to us. We're very welcoming, and it's a little bit unique to our group, the tarot group, that we kind of
Exactly.
build this community continuing in the coffee shop.
And meals. We always,
Yes.
welcome people at meals, or you can have time to yourself. So it's your choice. But yeah, that's where a lot of the more experienced people may sit down in the evening in the cafe and do readings for other people.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
the not experienced person. Last year, someone did her first reading for someone and came and everyone celebrated
Oh,
that. That was very
yeah.
sweet. Okay,
And we will do them in class. We do plenty of
yes,
readings in
yes,
class.
we do plenty. We're not
Yeah.
throwing you to the coffee shop.
It's just the coffee shop is more like being at, some kind of event where all of this is happening.
Yeah. Okay, the moon, unique to this year, or unique part. This is deep. This is unique. Mary and Rachel created that, there's the beginning where there's grounding, but then what happens next depends on who's there. And do you want to tell a little bit about this unique way of organizing it, Mary? We don't come with a set agenda for the ending. We build
Oh,
out of what the questions people have. And
yeah. Yeah. Actually, with Rachel and I'm able to do that with you, is that we do start with a plan at the beginning, and we have our list of things that we really want to share with you. And as the week goes on and we see where your interest lies, where your questions are taking you and us, we continually adapt it. And we try to find as many experiential things as we can. We might send you off to go find rocks. We might,
find rocks.
take a walk. We've in the past we have left cards for people around campus with little messages on them, with a note and a piece of paper that wraps up a card saying this is for you. And then at the meals, everybody's going around, did you get one of these cards? So we come up with ways to actually incorporate the whole environment around us.
Yeah, it is a magical place. You might see fox, certainly birds,
Yes,
all of
all
that.
kinds of creatures.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something that is unique each year is the sun is constant, but the moon changes. So we have been having these moon rituals, and the moon is new in Leo, which relates to the strength card. on Thursday,
Yeah.
24th. So in the before time, we'll be in the dark moon. Oh, maybe that relates a little bit to this card, you know, twos relate
Ah,
to the high priestess, some of that listening in the dark, which is the gestation of the new. I like the dark. Um,
yes.
um, and then we'll be having the new moon. So, and our rituals that we've done these moon rituals. Sometimes they're not central to our workshops, but they're some moon lovers. There are things you get to do that are optional, right? So
Yeah.
we've done that. And then like closing ritual, there are things, you know, that we kind of collaboratively co-create.
Yeah.
That's our moon. Those are some things that will be unique this year. Anything else unique to this year you want to mention, Mary?
We always try to send you off, which is the very things you were talking about with directions. So for the new moon, you know, where are you going to take this? So
Mm,
that it doesn't just stop at the end
yes.
of the class. It goes on because things have been seeded,
Mm,
and especially with this new moon,
mm,
that you will carry on and things you will continue to discover that were evoked to this. I'm a big fan of inquiry. Start asking lots of questions, and it's not about having the answer.
right.
It's allowing you to explore things in your life continually through things that came up as questions there. So
Mm,
you'll find that, to me, tarot is not about getting the answer to
mhm,
anything, but seeing potentials and possibilities and directions for growth.
yes. And going from the cauldron of creativity back into this everyday world that
Yeah.
is in need of magic, our
Oh,
strength, things like that. And so that new moon, I see that that could be very powerful, us moving then from there out into the world. So
yes,
exciting.
definitely.
Okay, now we have a fun topic. I don't know. We,
Oh,
you know, Mary and I are certainly aligned in our thinking, and Mary and Rachel were very, you know, worked for those many years. But you know, there are things we're building, and it's things we might fight about, but just things where we have a difference. Or I named this part of the workshop the Five of Wands, which is actually a card I like because like that kind of like jostling about creates
yeah.
energy and some new thinking. Like when we know things,
Mhm.
static. When we don't know things, they're not. So just this is we're gonna bring Mary and I are gonna brainstorm right now things we might fight about. I
Oh,
do you want
what's
to
your
go?
first thought? I
Well,
got
and
one.
we're having this conversation afresh at the moment, but except there was one we just kind of mentioned. Well, there's AI.
Aha.
There's AI. Mary's spending this is
Artificial intelligence.
artificial intelligence and these tools that we have. And Mary's been spending a lot of time with it. And I've been a little bit, I mean, I use it for my like, I have a part-time day job. And I'm like, what's all this about? So um, we're not going to answer this now, but if it's of interest to the group, Mary and I have some different ways of working, maybe different perspectives on
Oh,
it.
yeah. And I've been coming around and changing a lot of things as I get more and more educated about AI, let me tell you. But we're not going to do, you know, a whole session on artificial intelligence because it's very distressing to some people, but certainly in, you know, meals and in the cafe, wherever, I'm open to talking about that.
Yeah.
So,
And it will depend on, you know, what people's interests are. Yeah.
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 And I'm not sure what your attitude is towards this, Carolyn, but I know Rachel and I had big discussions about empowerment.
Empowerment. Yes.
Yes. Well, yeah, Rachel felt that, and as you'll find in so many places online where people talk about what they do with tarot, and readers will say, I empower you to da 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 da. Yeah, the tarot empowers you to. If something else or somebody else is empowering you, who has the power?
That's the power. Mm. Well,
So my thing is, yeah, you can, at the deepest level, I don't care what the dictionary says, at the deepest level, you can only empower yourself. So we're looking at ways to use the tarot for self-empowerment.
yes. And I can, this is, you know, like, I can also be, I'm trained in I have a degree in management, right? So there is also
Mhm.
a thing of situational leadership. Of
Yeah.
sometimes there is um, something that is given to you, right? Or like
Mhm.
that is needed to help you grow. So that could be power. Definitely, could be an interesting, controversial topic that we could talk about.
It is. Yeah,
I have
many, many sides. Yeah.
I have another one that um, hit tarot history, and the history that is left out. And partly I'm bringing this. I at my poetry conference, there was a Roma a writer, but also works with the tarot and divination, and talking about how the Roma people are left out of tarot history. I've been
Mm.
doing some reading with Blaine Smith, and I think they're. I don't actually think we're going to fight about this, but I think the tarot history has, like all history, it has its places where the people in power erase the,
Mhm.
the and like the practical magicians, the
Mhm.
people who did work in their communities, and like the Roma who are called the slur gypsies. So you don't, if you're not
Yeah.
Roma, you don't use that word, but I think there might be like some looking at history if people are interested in history. So, Rachel,
Ah.
Mary, you usually do some history, right? So maybe we also bring in, look at some of these. I was trying to think, is the people's history of the tarot, right? Like
Uh-huh.
people's history of the United States by Howard Zinn was bringing in more people's movements than power brokers. So I think maybe tarot history could benefit from that.
Well, I have a slide presentation on just this because there's very little written about tarot as divination before the very end of the 18th century,
Right.
end of the 1700s. And even after that, it's mostly men writing about things they learned from somebody else,
Hmm.
usually a woman, but not the women themselves. So I went to genre paintings.
Mm.
And I've got a
Yes.
collection of the genre paintings because even though the majority of them are again done by men of their fantasies of it, there's still slice of life.
Hmm.
And you see, in a parlor, in somebody's home, you see them under a tree. So, doing readings on the spot. So, yeah, that ties in with who were the diviners.
Who were the
With,
diviners? Yeah.
yeah.
And um, uh, it's Jasmina von Thiel who I met, and she has a new book, The Secrets of Romany Fortune Telling, and
Ah,
so, talking about how those practices are like community self-care practices, and people who have been oppressed and gone through genocide, and like these kinds of techniques, divination, working with the tarot, are for these times when we are so greatly under challenge. So,
exactly.
I mean, I think the world we're in, sometimes we talk about as politics. I kind of think we're beyond politics. We're in, some of the things that are happening in our through the government is kind
Yeah.
of beyond politics, certainly partisan politics, and more about like, what is the world we want to create? And we don't see it happening anywhere at the upper level. So, what is the role of we in the tarot community
Yeah.
who have these wonderful tools and symbols of seeding some of that new ideas of how to be and how to work together?
And it's important because people come to tarot readers and other psychics and so on when the old rules don't work anymore.
Yes.
So there's no way to plan what you're going to do next or what job your child should be trained for.
Hmm.
No, we've got no models for these anymore. So where do you go when
Hmm.
none of the models, none of the traditions work anymore,
Yeah.
except divination?
Divination. Okay. So, arrow for the times we live in. I think we should wrap up though. Mary and I could keep going, but
Yeah,
unless you have a final thing, I'm just going to bring up the logistics slide and tell people how they could sign up if they wanted. And okay,
definitely.
okay, let me oops, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Sorry, it looked different. Okay, you can see that, right, Mary?
Yes.
Okay, Wisdom of the Tarot at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. Very important. That's the place. Beautiful place. The dates: Monday, we start at 9 a.m. Most people come in the night before.
Right. They come in Sunday evening.
Come in Sunday evening. I think it's 9 or 9:30, something like that. And we go through Friday. Oops, we go till lunch. We go to
Lunch.
12:30. So there's a Wednesday afternoon break, which people like to meet with each other, or if you're at Omega, you can get like a massage, a treatment, or
drive to Woodstock or into Rhinebeck. Yeah.
yeah. Lodging options at Omega, many options, from very, very plush to camping, and also around the area that you can find at hotels, or there other ways to look around. Just meals in the dining hall, and it's very local, fresh food. They accommodate all kinds of food needs. I have many, and they accommodate me. Some people miss meat, that's a thing, but that's why you go on Wednesday to Rhinebeck or to Woodstock. Registration: go to eomega.org and search for Wisdom of the Tarot. Will pop up there. And then just before we close, this is the week long, which is particularly good if you want to get grounded, but also we have people come who are very experienced, so whatever you're looking for. But also there's Masters of the Tarot the weekend before.
Yeah.
Do you want to just say a word about that? I mean, and you would go to eomega.org and put in Masters of the Tarot. And it's a great lineup of people who will just bring you in to, it's kind of like what their current thing that they're passionate about. Would you say that, Mary?
Definitely. And, look it up. Sasha, Anthony, Mark, and me. We're presenting whatever we're most excited about, teaching and bringing people with fresh ideas, new things to do with tarot based on all our experience.
And that's it. Maybe we stayed pretty close to a half hour, which is good. Mary and I can get conversing. So with that, feel free to ask questions. I'm Carolyn at soulpathsanctuary.com. Email is fine for me, CAROLYN at soulpathsanctuary.com. You can find soulpathsanctuary.com online. And you can funnel questions through me, because email's not
me
great.
on Facebook Messenger is probably the best way to reach me right now. My email gets messed up.
Check in with Mary too if needed. But okay, we hope to see you picking up your gifts at Wisdom of the Tarot.
Wisdom of the Tarot. Bye-bye.